Hello guys, thank you very much for tuning in to loamwolf.com. Today I've got here a product that I've been really stoked on riding trails recently. This is the Leatt MTB Enduro 4.0 convertible helmet. Leatt took their popular MTB 4.0 downhill full face helmet and kind of kept the general look of it, but added in a bit more enduro functionality to the Enduro 4.0 by making it a convertible helmet, meaning that it can go from the full face mode that you see here to the half face mode, just with the click of a couple of latches. So this is something you can do on the fly when you're out on the trail, and it just gives the helmet a sort of dual functionality. Means that you can take the same helmet on a relaxed sort of trail ride in an open face mode, all the way through to kind of downhill laps in a bike park, if that's what you're kind of interested in. Leatt, to make it into more of a pedal-friendly enduro full face, they took the venting on the original downhill full face and increased the size of the ports. They did have to lose a couple of the ports because of the convertible aspect of the helmet. But what they've done is basically increased the amount of ventilation and airflow of the helmet, so that when you're out in the saddle on a hot day, your head can breathe that little bit better. These 18 ventilation ports mean that the polymer shell around the EPO and EPS liner all adds up to a respectable weight of 850 grams. Certainly in terms of downhill helmets, this is a really light helmet. When it comes to more breathable, kind of permanent full face helmets, it is a little bit on the heavy side, but you know, considering it has that dual functionality, being both a open face and full face helmet, that little bit of an extra weight penalty may not matter to many people. To ensure that the helmet is as safe as Leatt could make it, they used the EPO and EPS foam, as I mentioned, which gives sort of multi-velocity impact protection, as well as fitting it with their Turbine 360 rotational impact protection system as well. What this Turbine 360 system does is it uses some sort of rubber discs on the inside to separate the helmet shell from the skull of the rider. And it means that both on direct straight impacts, there's a reduction in the chance of concussion by 30%. On the sort of lightest impacts, where concussion is just starting to become a possibility to the head, as well as for the rotational impact, there's a whopping 40% reduction in the peak accelerations that you will see or may see in a crash. So the pair of them, certainly good figures to have in your head when you're riding on the trail, just to know that you are getting the most sort of protection that you can be. Now, the chin bar is attached with a couple of latches. It's what they call their easy fit system. Whether it's totally easy or not is definitely going to be dependent on how dexterous the rider is. For me, certainly taking it off is pretty easy, but when you're trying to put it back on, when the helmet's on your head, it is not so easy. You've got to find a couple of little latches on the helmet and line them up while you're on the move, while it's on your head. You can't see them unless you have a mirror. So unless you're really good at feeling out where those latches are, it is quite difficult to do on the fly. But you know, taking the helmet off is not all that difficult, and it means that you can do it in, I don't know, at tops 30 seconds, and then be into the full face mode. So kind of a good thing to do while you're taking a breather on at the top of a climb before you drop in, and certainly not a deal breaker in my eyes for the kind of rider that I would expect to be riding in a convertible helmet like this. In the front, you've got a pretty generous mouth vent, as you'd expect to see in a breathable full-face helmet, but Leatt identified that some riders may not be needing all of that breathability and may favor the extra protection that a grille would have there. So they designed this removable grille on the helmet, which means that if you would favor a little bit extra protection, whether that be from mud or from foliage and branches in a crash or just as you're going along the trail, then you can opt to have this grille in or pop it out if you're pedaling with the helmet in full face mode to get that extra little bit of sort of breathing ventilation. The peak has kind of breakaway technology, as we've come to expect these days. So if you do crash with the helmet, that peak is designed to shear off and stop your helmet from snagging on the ground, which can potentially lead to neck injuries or rotational injuries to the brain. So that's good to see. Leatt made it so that it is a 3-position adjustable peak, which means that if you're on a climb with a set of goggles, you can push that peak up and out the way, get the goggles stowed up under the visor, and it means that it's just nice and simple to go from the bottom of the trail with the goggles still on, pop them up under your peak, and then you're good to go and pedal back up the trail. Under this peak is also some sort of rubberized padding for glasses, if that's what you're going to be wearing with the helmet. Definitely in an open face mode, I prefer to wear glasses myself, or if you're trying to go for the full Euro look and wear the glasses with the full face mode, then this just makes it really easy when you are climbing or when you just don't need them, just to stow them away. It stops them from rattling. They kind of stay pretty well secured. I've used it with a couple of different sets of glasses without any issues. So I think I've done quite a good job there. Also, to look at, you just think it's part of the styling of the helmet. It doesn't add any kind of ugly extras to the helmet. So I think I've done a pretty good job with that. We've started to see fidlock used more and more for the chin buckle. It's present on this MTB Enduro 4 helmet as well. And at the Loam Wolf, we love it. It's just so easy to use. We've never had an issue with security. And yeah, you can't really ask for more. The padding is all removable, washable, anti-odor, moisture wicking. So, it should stop it from smelling. It should keep you a bit more comfortable when you are riding in it and getting sweaty. I have eventually managed to make it smell after a couple of months of riding in the helmet pretty much every day, leaving it in the van overnight, still a little bit damp when you put it on in the morning. Not very pleasant, but until pretty much yesterday, it was absolutely smell-free. Now it's starting to creep in a little bit, but I'm just going to pop them out, chuck them in the wash, and then tomorrow morning they will be good to go again. Leatt being a neck brace company previously, I think that's what they started doing. They have ensured that this Enduro helmet here is still neck brace compatible. So if you are using it as a kind of downhill full face and you want to opt for the most protection with a neck brace, then it'll work pretty good with that too, which is good to see. Leatt offer this helmet in small, medium and large to fit 51 to 63 centimeter heads. It's available in 4 colorways at the moment, from a really subdued black through to this pretty bright ivy colorway, a nice kind of two-tone green. And it retails for 280 Great British pounds or 325 American dollars. So certainly a premium level helmet, but there are, countless features that can go some way to justifying that. And, you can't really put a price on safety. We say again and again, it's the one place that you really should not be holding back on spending money on, because at the end of the day, how can you put a sort of price on the value of your brain? So, it's a helmet that certainly I could justify telling people to go out and spend their hard-earned money on. It has been performing real good. But let's dive into how it has been out on the trail. How does it ride? Well, for a breathable full-face helmet, certainly with that mouth vent removed, it does breathe pretty damn well. It's not the coolest helmet ever. It's not a cross-country lid, even when the chin bar is removed. It is kind of a typical Enduro helmet. That extra protection and the extra size of it does have to pay a slight price on the overall ventilation and breathability of the helmet. But Leatt have done a pretty good job at keeping this thing nice and airy. And certainly it's not a helmet that I would be scared to wear on a hotter day. It's super comfortable. One thing I haven't mentioned earlier actually is the adjustable dial at the back to get the fit spot on. So you've got the cheek pads, which come in 2 sizes, but also the rotational dial at the back, so you can dial in the fit, and that's a very typical thing to see on an open face helmet. And it means that when it's in the full face mode, you can back it off a little bit, make it a little bit looser fitting, and rely a little bit more on the cheek pads, and then you can crank it down real tight when it's in the open shell mode and get it as secure as possible. But in general, for me, with a 56 centimeter head in this size medium, I couldn't really ask for a more comfortable helmet. It just popped on straight away. The cheek pads were the right size for me, and then with a quick turn of the dial, it was good to go. And it is just a super comfortable helmet overall, I think. The overall look, I think, coming from a sort of downhill based company, or downhill helmet originally, and then turn it into an enduro helmet, means that it's carried over some of that aggressive sort of downhill aesthetic, which it inspires confidence. It looks like it's going to protect you in a crash, and in terms of psychology, that's always a good thing. But thankfully, it does also have all of the protective features to boot, so that kind of confidence in the helmet shouldn't be misplaced. Thankfully, I've not had to test it, but certainly when the time comes, if the time comes, hopefully not, then I have no kind of question whether it will protect me or not. It is one of the kind of slight drawbacks that I found with the helmet is the lack of any sort of ventilation or hole on the side of the helmet around your ear. That does kind of cut out a little bit of the noise coming into you, especially other people talking to you seems to be the thing you struggle to hear the most. It's not terrible, but it is definitely notable, especially if they're sort of a little bit away from you. You can kind of hear considerably less, so have to get them to shout or just say pardon a lot. So that's one slight drawback. I'm sure that the structural benefits of not having the vent there are why Leatt chose not to. But yeah, that is one thing to note. But overall, I really can't find all that much to kind of tell you not to buy one of these helmets for yourself. So if you are in the market for either just a breathable full face helmet or a nice sort of open face helmet, but you're potentially thinking, I might go to the bike park and it might be useful to have that option to put on the chin bar, then I'd say it's a great helmet for kind of a wide variety of riders. You can head to Competitive Cyclist, and you can, if you check out our website, you can get a discount code for the helmet to knock a little bit of money off of that relatively high RRP. So do make use of that if you're considering getting one. And stay tuned. The long-term review of this helmet, in words, a little bit more detailed, should be dropping anytime now. It may already be live by the time you're watching this. So check that out. Give us a like if you've enjoyed this video. Leave us a comment to let us know, what's your favorite breathable full face convertible helmet, and subscribe to the channel to see more videos on awesome products like this. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Hope to catch you out on the trails.